Let's get to it. Let's get to it. Hello, 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 everyone. It is Community Beacon. Are we
Brr,
live?
brr, brr, brr.
I want to make sure. Okay, everything is. I had a pop up. Community Beacon is Friday. We're well into May. 5 months into the year. Come on, man.
Yes, yes,
Time,
yes, yes.
time waits for no man. You see me over here as Palm Beach Mike, your real estate guy here in Northern Palm Beach County. I appreciate that. And on the other side of the screen, we have my brother from another mother, the incomparable Joel Simmons of the Tenacity Foundation. Look, you can see jsimmons.tenacity on IG, Instagram, right?
That's
Come on,
Rick.
man.
That's it.
Big- About 4 or 5 years ago, we would have never thought it, but now here we got the brother.
Yeah,
Got the
yeah.
Instagram going on, so definitely reach out to him on Instagram. We are well off into the series of habits. We've done it for the past 3 weeks. This is the fourth week. This is an interesting
Wow.
topic. Yeah, yeah.
It's the last week too, right?
Say it again.
Is this the last week or we got another one
Uh,
after this?
it might be the last week. I know. I think we said four. This is the fourth. I'm of the thought process like if you haven't gotten it by now, if
If
you
you
have
don't know me by now.
you will never, never. Is that what the song says?
That's
You
it. That's
will,
how the song goes,
you
man. You
will
know that.
never, never. So, and I mean, for those of us, I don't know if we have the link in the description about some of the big takeaways that we've had for the past 2 to 3 weeks, but it's been deep. For me, it's been awesome. It's
Yeah,
been a
me too.
time for, yeah, brother. I would imagine for a time for some real good reflection, some upgrading of habits, some renewing of habits, some celebrating of habits that we've already had. Last week, that baseline conversation, and as far as identity and the ebbs and flows, that we spoke about the rhythm of habits last week. That was eye opening and revealing for me as well. So, what do you think, brother? Where
Man,
we at?
I mean, that's exactly where we are. This whole habit series, we're getting ready to come to a close on it. And I like what we're talking about now, just about the integrity piece of this whole thing. I think that that's really, really smart to kind of close it out with that, owner awareness and ownership. We've talked about that agency multiple times, and I think that that's where we're at because habits, when it comes down to habits, it really is something that you must own on your own. And yes, I use that word twice purposefully, because the thing about it is that if you're ever going to be whoever you desire to be, you have to start taking responsibility and accountability for the things that you do as well as the things that you don't do. And when it comes down to it, based off of the discovery that we've had over these last 4 weeks or these last 3 weeks, and today being the closing of the fourth week, it really drives this message. Habits are worth investing in. Why? Because either you will have intentional habits or you will have unintentional habits. And if you allow for unintentional habits to run your life, you have no idea where you're going to end up at. As I stated before, loosely speaking, Yogi Berra would say, if you don't know where you're going, any road will do. So if you don't know what you want to be, who you want to be, who you are, then being anybody will work for you, and allowing anything to run you will work for you. And that's the case. It will run you, whatever that is. When we talked about multiple things, Mike, we talked about working out. We talked about working with our parents. We talked about working different types of works, jobs. We talked about entrepreneurship. We talked about relationships. We really broke this thing down into multiple facets so that you could use it as structure, as pillars in your daily lifestyle, so that you will be able to identify with exactly where you're going and how you're going to get there. So if you're not taking this part in, homebound, agency bound, then what you are doing is you are allowing for your lust, you're allowing for your desires, you're allowing for your happenstance, you're allowing for quote unquote luck, which I'm not a proponent of luck, y'all. So when I say that loosely, right? Because luck really favors, if there was a thing called luck, it really favors the prepared, right? You prepare for something when the opportunity arises, you have the ability to then grasp that opportunity with both hands and take full advantage of it. But if you're not prepared and the opportunity arises, you will fall flat on your face. The door will shut inside of your right in front of you. So really, when people say, "Oh, they're so lucky that that happened," no, they were prepared. And when the opportunity showed up, because of their preparation, they were able to intentionally take on whatever that was. And that's what we want to help people to gear up for. Be intentional about your life, create good habits, positive habits, change the narrative, identify with this thing, and let's roll.
Yeah, I'm with you. The when we speak about, you mentioned Yogi Berra, he said, "Take any path, anything will do." And then we say, you know, here's the thing: is that and to your point, brother, the intentional, the habits are happening. Like, and we spoke about that before. So just be aware that regardless of whether you're intentional or not, you have habits. Now we're
Mm,
going back and we're identifying, like, well, are these habits in alignment with where we are or want to be or whatever the case is? Like, so that's going to show up in your results and your receipts. But your results and your receipts are going to point out to the habits that you have, right?
mm,
So I'm not saying that these habits will work for you, so to speak. I think this is where we start to get into and we're going to dive deep in this episode, your identity, right? Like, what is your, because you have an identity. Now I was thinking prior to the show, you know there's a saying that says character is what you are like when nobody's watching, right? um your identity, it shows through regardless of whether people are watching or not. Your identity is your identity. Is probably based upon your worldview, and it's what you've cultivated through the habits. And we can go through, and we've mentioned a bunch of different habits during the show, and you can mimic these habits. But that identity that you have, that's the frequency. It's the sound your life is making when nobody, when no one's performing. It is what it is. Well, it's how you walk into a room, it's the eye contact, it's the conversation, it's really whether you believe it, and this is whether you believe it or not, because it's going to show up. I wish, almost, when people say you got to fake it to make it, that's probably one of the most misunderstood phrases that you'll ever hear, because you can fake it to make it, and the only people that you're fooling are probably other people that are faking it. But the people who know, the people who understand, they see right through it. And you could be faking it into something, you could be faking yourself into a roadblock, but this is your
mm,
identity coming through. The integration now, and because we want to use it hand in hand, is how do we get this thing, how do we get this music in tune, right? Your identity can be the either aligned or misaligned, right? Either way, it's your identity. Is it an alignment with your mind, spirit, and soul, right? That's when you have this harmony that sounds great. Well, you can also have something called noise. This is the misalignment. So when we start to work on these habits, it's saying, like, how do we get ourselves back in tune and in alignment with ourselves, as opposed to just making noise, right? The harmony is, we wouldn't even refer to it as harmony, although it is, right? But it's just the misalignment of it.
mm. Okay. I love it. I love it. So I see what you're doing as far as bringing in the harmony piece of it and the alignment piece of it, which I'm with that. I'm with that 100%, because being aligned with, being aligned with where you're headed means so much, right? It's like driving a vehicle. If your wheels are not aligned, or they're misaligned, or they're out of alignment, then you see the work becomes much more difficult, right? If anyone's ever driven a vehicle that was misaligned or out of alignment, they know that if the vehicle started pulling to the left, they had to pull against the vehicle to the right in order to keep it on a straight pathway. Well, the more you're misaligned or out of alignment, the more you have to pull, the more you have to compensate, the more you have to overcompensate, which means that your focus now is on overcompensation instead of destination.
Mm.
So if we're looking to get somewhere in life and we find ourselves misaligned, understand this, that your energy, and how's that saying go? Your energy flows. How's that? Do you remember the end of that?
Where your
Where
mind
your
goes, your energy flows, or
where your
something like that.
mind goes, your energy flows. So using that as a thought process, where your mind goes, your energy flows. Well, if you're out of alignment, your mind is on being out of alignment. And so you're no longer focused on the direction of travel or the destination point or even enjoying the ride. Now you're fighting against your ride the entire time. The more you're unaligned, the more you fight against it. So, like bringing that back to habits, right? Habits are things that we either develop intentionally or unintentionally. Most people, and this is just my thought process, this is not like some Harvard study. Most people, I believe, are operating off of unintentional habits. So, if we're operating off of unintentional habits, then we're just allowing for things to happen inside of our life because we don't desire or because we have not put any energy into creating better habits. Quote unquote narrative, changing narratives, keeping old narratives, or lifestyle choices, right? I was watching this movie just last night. I enjoyed it. It was movie time with the family, and I picked a movie called Lucy. I don't know if y'all have ever seen it. 2014, Scarlett Johansson, and there comes a point in time when she has all of this mind power that is taking over, and she stops by a friend's house to use a computer. She hugs the friend. She ends up diagnosing her friend, and she gives her a script, a prescription. And she walks up to her. She says, "You need to make some life choices." And then tells her exactly what to do and walks out the house. And I'm like, boom, what a great message in like 30 seconds. 30 seconds of time, maybe less than that. Go back and watch it if you like to. I'm sure a lot of y'all like Scarlett Johansson. Go back and watch this movie and just look for that one part. There was a huge message right there. You need to make some life choices. I've looked over your life and I found that there was something that is affecting you. You can't see it as a coach. I am telling you, or a mentor, I am telling you that if you don't make some life choices, then you're going to have this type of scenario. However, I'm also telling you that if you do make these life choices, you can make a difference in your lifestyle. So what are the habits? The habits are, let's implement something that is going to help us to make better life choices, so that for longevity, for success, for better relations, all of these different things. And being that today we're really honing in, I know that there's a lot of what we've talked about over the last 3 weeks, but we're really honing in on like the awareness of this thing. Become aware. Like, become aware. Look for those cues. Look for those guys. Like Mike always says, call Mike up, DM Mike. This guy is a genius, y'all. He's a genius. And the thing about it is like talking with him, you can just ask him a couple questions. He can give you the information, show you where to get it. I believe, I'm under the understanding Mike is not really going to hold you to whether or not you do it. That's my belief of Mike. I'm the same way. I'm not coming and chasing you down to see if you do it. Now, if you're my client and I'm mentoring you, I'm going to be checking up on you. If I'm coaching you, I'm going to be checking up on you. That's a different case, different scenario. But if we're just talking in the streets, it's like,
Yeah.
hey, listen, ABC, it's on you.
Mm.
That's where agency comes in line. That's where awareness. Okay, I'm aware. Now, what do I do with this awareness? And I think that's, what'd you say, bro?
Nah, it's 1000%. It's not. We spoke about this the last three episodes. It's interesting. Is that the awareness is that first piece. Like you, once you become aware, now you step into the next piece, which is the acceptance. None of this, and
That's
as try as you might, it's tough. Because I've been there where you just don't want to believe it. You just don't want to accept that I've we've gotten ourselves here, you know, and
Woo! Oh
and
man, say that again.
yeah, I mean,
Ooh.
come on, bro, we've gotten ourselves here, and here's the thing:
Woo.
we've inherited an identity that we never chose. Sit on that for a little bit, right? We've inherited an identity that we did not choose, and it's okay. Let I'm aware now that things ain't going the way that I wanted to go. We've went down this path. Have you ever noticed? I was thinking about someone, and this is me. This is them. I think to me everything is the same. So forgive me. I'm not picking on anybody. Have you ever noticed these things that just go wrong in your life?
Mm-mm.
For absolutely no reason. It just keeps happening time and time again. Anytime, especially when you're going to make a change, because you're making a change because you're aware of something. But we're in this loop. So now it's time for us to make a change and something happens. This is the when an excuse starts to rear its ugly head. We start to bring up this excuse as to why, well, that is the Lord telling me that that's not supposed to happen. That I'm not supposed to do that. This is that we start to look for these different things. We're looking for it now, right? This
Mm.
is this is called confirmation bias. We're looking for these different biases. We're looking for these different triggers or things that happen that's going to confirm it. It can be as little as the time turning. Oh, I'm looking at the time and it's a certain time, or it could be as hard as someone actually coming in front of you looking to block your change. It could be and
Mm.
off time is going to be within your environment, right? People that you love, people that you're around all the time, your friends, your family, whatever it is, because they help to create this thing. We spoke about the first episode. Environment is one of the biggest causes as to how we develop these habits. I saw my mom waking up. I'm getting up, right? I saw my this person drinking. I'm drinking. We just end up in these ways and these pathways. We go into neuroscience. We've already created it. We've made it stronger. So now when you're aware of it, like the brother brought up the aware of it, off I know I felt at times like I started to feel feelings of guilt and shame. How could you let this happen? How could you have been a sucker for so long? Maybe like whatever it is. And now it's like when you can step back and you can say, that's okay. I'm
Mm.
accepting who I am. The brother spoke about becoming, which is it's our desire of our hearts to become something. But let's talk about us as who we are. This is going to be one of the biggest stepping stones. Is this who I am, not becoming, who I am. This is where you start to get into visualization. You start to create something out of this is a renewed mind. This is who I am, and that's okay.
Mm.
Now we're just going to start to build on top of these habits that I've already had and replace some habits in order to say, okay, this is who I am. Pay attention to these things, the trauma, your ego, your culture. It's fine. We've created this. 20, 30, 40 years have occurred. It's been cultivated. We've cultivated this. Now we're going to start to take agency, like the brother said. This life is mine. I don't need to find myself. We're going to integrate. We're going to tune in. Now I'm just tuning in to make sure that I'm in alignment, right? Because your identity could be a misalignment. I don't know. It could be fine. Don't judge it, right? We're going to figure this thing out. We're going to say, I need my spirit I need my mind, and I need my body to become into alignment, right? The spiritual, the mental, and the physical. And that's the alignment. Here's some things you can use to say whether I'm not in alignment. It's really easy once we get past the excuses and once we accept it. Your
Mm,
body, right? Physical, you're not in alignment. Your body starts to show these things. It's physically manifesting within you, right? You're losing weight, you're gaining weight, you start to get these stress related illnesses. And here's something, most illnesses are stress related. You start to get these stress related illnesses. You can see when your body is not operating at its peak. You start to get stomach things where you gut issues going on. You get foggy brain. Like, all these things are physical manifestations of being, if not being in alignment. Excuse me. The mental signs are this fogginess. I'm foggy. I can't think straight. Most of us are very intelligent, but then all of a sudden we can't figure out a simple issue, right? We can't put it together. It takes us 2 weeks to pick. Oh, there it is. These are cases of physical misalignment. You go into the spiritual misalignment. You ever heard someone say, "It's just not sitting right with my soul"? Right? Like,
mm.
it's just not sitting right. I don't know what it is. I can't put my finger on it, but this is just not sitting right. We get these signals. Some of them, that's important to understand and know who you are. This is why we talk about, like, knowing yourself. But all these things are signals to say that I'm not in alignment. My identity could possibly be misalignment. Okay, so now we need to start putting into these checkpoints. We need to start tuning. We need to start integrating these different things. We integrate our mind, our body, our soul. And even if we get a result that's possibly not the best result, we know that we put our best foot forward. And if you put your best foot forward, that's going to keep down on the resentment. It's going to keep down on the regrets. It's going to keep down on the shame. It's going to keep the guilt out of the way. Now we're just saying, hey, I did my best. You ever did something where and didn't quite get it there? Maybe you in sports, you all got together and you all just put your best forward and you lost anyways, right? This team just outdid you for whatever reason. But if you put your best forward, all you say is, okay, we'll get them next time,
Mm.
right? Like, I'm moving on to the next thing. How many times did Michael Jordan miss the shot? They got number. It's a crazy amount of numbers, but he's back at it again. He's ready to take the next shot. Next time it's up for it, I'm taking the next shot. I'm doing it. This is when you're in alignment. It doesn't mean you're gonna make the shot, right? But you're comfortable knowing that you put your best foot forward. And then what Kobe did when he missed a shot, you get back in the gym and you start taking that same shot over and over again. How we getting, brother?
No, no, no. I love that. I was just taking that note because I wanted to speak on that right there, man. That's good. That's good. It goes right into the piece that I was thinking about and something that you were asking me to speak on, which was the loops, right? So I'm thinking about MJ. He missed the shot. You've done some research based off of that, and then you mentioned Kobe Bryant about how what he did is he went in to the gym and he practiced same shot, same shot. Other guys like Steph Curry, another individual who maximized his ability to nail one shot and move to the next shot and the next shot until he had an arsenal of shots that were just like unstoppable. I mean, I've seen Steph Curry, taking shots from, flinging himself out of the entire court, and like hitting a shot, a fadeaway as he leaves the court, just so that if he was ever in a game and he's down to the last 2-3 seconds and he ends up getting a foul or he's being pushed out of bounds and he tosses up a shot, he's not throwing up a Hail Mary. It's a real shot for him. This is big, y'all. Like, we're getting insight to people who are considered to be the GOATs, right? The greatest of all time. And we're getting this insight of the craziness that they will go through in order to make a simple thing look as if it was flawless. Habits, performing, intentionality. So Mike was asking me to talk a little bit about loop, and I'm like, this is it. This is the point where I bring up the loop. So I want you guys to just like connect this thought process, if you will. I'll try to keep it, surface level. So atrial fibrillation, right? Basically, in your heart, at the top of your heart, you have your atrium, right? And you got your ventricles at the bottom. You got your bundle of his in between. And what happens is there's a node at the top of your heart, and it fires off electrical activity, causing the heart to beat like this, and the heart beats like that. If this was the top of the heart, the atrium, and this the ventricle, it would beat like that. It doesn't beat all one thing at a time. One thing beats the next thing then beats or then squeezes, and it's how we pass blood through the different chambers of the heart and out into the lungs, and then draw it back into the heart and then push it out into the rest of the body. So what happens is, for people that have atrial fibrillation, what ends up happening is that the node, see, if this was the heart and these are the two sections, it should look like this, right? I don't know if you guys can see that. It should look like this. Well, it's firing off up at the top. Well, in atrial fibrillation, what happens is without technical terminology, the pacemaker ends up firing in different locations. Why? Because there is absence of the ability for that electrical firing to move through the heart, hit the bundle of his, and hit the ventricles. So it's unable to create the contraction. So what the body then does is it puts it in different locations, and it starts to fire all over the place, all over the top of the atrium. Bing, 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 boom. And then all of a sudden you get the contraction. And so what happens is that you get this elongation, or you don't know when your heart is actually going to contract and help the rest of the heart to do what it needs to do. And this right here is not something that's intentional, it's unintentional, right? So now if we look at this in life, talking about loops, this loop will continue to happen until it works. Well, in life, what happens is that when we're dealing with habits, bad habits are very similar, especially in business or in relationships. So let's say you're in a relationship with your girl and you're attempting to make her happy after an argument. You're trying to figure this thing out. So what do? Because you don't know what to do, you just do what you've always done. So you try to talk to her. Doesn't make her happy. So then after that, you try to buy her something. Doesn't make her happy. So then after that, you try to distance yourself from her because you're through. Doesn't make her happy. So you just keep bouncing back and forth into all these other different things that you have done over the course of time that have never worked before, because you have no idea what it is that you should do to make the connection. I hope that was a good example. We're trying to make the connection. And the thing is what Mike was talking about. The awareness is focus. See, in the heart, it's a condition, so we don't have true control over it. So there's other types of drugs and things, medications that kind of help bring us into a rhythm. So what we have to do inside of our life is we have to start focusing on, like if you were to study EQ, then one of the thought processes of EQ is think about what you think about, right? So we need to start diagnosing what is going on, figure out what doesn't work. And the thing is like in that example, particularly with a guy and a gal, you need to talk with her. You need to consult her, but don't consult her when things are going wrong. Consult her when things are going right. Be like, hey, babe, oh my gosh, we're having such a great time. We're just hanging out. Oh my gosh. Oh, by the way, last month when we got into an argument, I was so glad that we worked this thing out, but I was trying to figure out how to work it out faster. Can we talk about that for a moment? Like, what was it that I was doing that kept you pissed off at me for so long? If there was any way that I could communicate with you better, so that we don't have to repeat that. Because I love you, girl, and I don't like being upset, and I don't like when you're upset, and I don't want you to be upset, and I don't want to be upset. So, like, what could I have done differently? Tell me. And if it's something that I can do, then I'm going to do it. Just give me some time to work this in my routine because it may be new to me. And like lay that thing out, man. Always do that on the high level when you're laughing and joking. Like people, they don't take advantage of the high levels. And I know this is a little bit of a tangent, but they don't take advantage of the high levels of when things are going right. It is time to work on things that are wrong. We try to work on things that are wrong when things are wrong. And you wonder why you keep getting the same results. It's because the narrative that you've been living by has taught you to deal with situations after they have occurred. And what we're saying now, I believe this is what we're saying is, hey, why don't we do a shortcut? Why don't we deal with the scenario before it becomes a situation? Why don't we develop a new narrative by being focused and aware and then figure out what it is we need to construct by taking agency over our own life and then create a new narrative and then use that to become a habit so that we don't have to intentionally do it anymore. But that now a good habit that we created intentionally becomes a good habit that we have unintentionally. And no longer do we have to think about it. It's like people that have good habits on getting their oil changed. They say every time, every 3,000 miles, I go and get my oil changed, or every 5,000. And they say, no matter what, when it hits 2,500 or when it hits 4,500, I schedule an appointment to get my oil change. And then they habit stack. So whenever I get my oil change at 5,000 miles or whatever, I'm going to have my tires rotated. Now you have created a good habit. You stacked it with another good habit. And before you know it, you don't think about it anymore. It's automated. It just happens. In the beginning, it's difficult. In the end, it's just the way that I live my life. This is how we get there, fellas. What'd you say, bro?
Yeah, yeah. I don't know if it's you or me, but you're frozen. So I don't know.
Oh
Am I
man, I'm
frozen?
frozen, man. I've been talking like talking.
we
Gosh.
we we could hear you. We just got frozen, and a lot of it, a lot of that stuff makes perfect sense. Um, I, the brother spoke about speaking, and when we speak in the negative, or excuse me, when we have an issue, shouldn't be the only time that we move to correct things. And I'm in total alignment with that. I think when you're having the first, I've always said this: the first time we speak shouldn't be a correction, because by that time
Mm.
there's so much ground to cover, right? So the first time I speak to somebody, hopefully, as long as no one's in danger, it shouldn't be a correction. The first time I want to speak to someone, it should be something of encouragement. It should be some kind of positive note. I'm huge on this encouragement and empowering. So I'm going to I've made it a habit to find ways to encourage and empower people when they talk. Beethoven called me today, and the first thing that comes out of my mouth is an encouraging or an empowering statement, whatever it may be. Sometimes humor works as well. It'll be a humorous statement, whatever. It's just I just want to start it off on an empowering, encouraging way. And if there ever comes a time for a correction, right? Maybe I'm instituting some type of boundaries, or we're working through an issue. Now when I speak to them, it's going to be more genuine. It's not just happening it because I'm mad. It's not just happening because I'm angry. It's going to be a genuine statement. And then, of course, we can start thinking about tone, the way that we present ourselves, like, because all of those things matter even more than the words, right? I'm sorry. It's totally different
Woo.
from, man.
Yes.
I really do apologize for whatever it was we that we were going through. That's number one. And all of this really stems and really because when I'm apologizing or when I'm correcting, I don't really, and the brother spoke about this when you call me, I'm not really expecting anything. I'm not necessarily expecting you to change, to be affected in a positive way. Like it doesn't matter to me because this apology or this correction was just because I feel as if I'm giving um information, right? So you can take the information, you don't take the information, it's whatever, but the information is there. And if I don't give it to you, then I've almost in my mind, I'm feeling like I'm at fault, right? But I don't really expect you to change because this identity is some deep stuff, right? I was even talking to my father the other day, and one of my sayings is once you find yourself in a hole, stop digging. I
Yeah.
really, I really think that it's important for us just to take pause,
Mm.
right? I just stop. I'm still living my life, right? All things are still happening. Life is still going on. But as far as my decision making or whatever it is, like I got to stop because I got to say, well, the same way that thought me into this problem is not going to get me out of this problem, right? I can't change it. Nothing changes when nothing changes. I don't care how you slice it. You can move. You see people get up, I gotta move. Or you see people who say, man, I gotta go do this. I gotta do that. I just stop. I told my dad, I said, man, most people just need to take 2 to 3 months off and go to Jamaica with you. And
Mm.
you all can sit in this, take take a
Sign me up.
month. Yeah.
Sign me up.
Hey, listen, I'm telling you, and this is one of the things I'm working on. But go take a month away from all of this, what I would call noise, right? And start to say, well, what is it? Because these habits that we have cultivated for 10, 20, 30 years are so ingrained and they're so biased. Here's what I tell people. I got the five biases, man. Self-interest, white supremacy, um, politics, religion, and gender. Those five things form our worldview, right? So we have our worldview, and these five things have already been indoctrinated. Like this is the cult. It's already the world. This is the world cultivating us. So you have those five things. And this is where we start to make our decisions. This is why we start to say whether things are good or bad. We start to have this morality as we put to things that happen that just happen. They just happen, right? Like life is happening. It's been happening for billions of years. It's happening, right? And we're in there. So what I don't want you to do is to go up against that because these things are human nature, but to take a step back and say, man, who am I? Right? I've been dealing with this for 5 to 10 years. It's changed me. Yeah, for me personally, I was driving back and forth to go get my son from Port St. Lucie like 3 times a week, right? 3, 4 times a week, just making this drive. And I'm just doing it because I'm just gonna do it, right? I just put it in my mind I'm gonna do it. But when I take a look at it, I'm just like, man, that was cultivating me to be something.
Mm.
This is I'm at this, looking back on it, this was the cultivation process. Now I have a whole different thought process about this drive, right? Whether or not I just didn't put it out of my mind. I was so conscious in this thing happening, it happened. And so someone who's subconsciously not paying attention to this could cause trauma. It could cause resentment. It could cause regret. But because I was intentional, and the brother been speaking about this for years about being intentional, because I was intentional about what it was I was feeling about this entire time, I was able just to let it go. And it's just another part. But I understand how that could have cultivated me into some kind of way, right? So that's important. The brother spoke about this last week. We spoke about the rhythm and the ebbs and flows and the baseline. What is our baseline? Because really, I believe that we need to start and try this on, guys. That's where we should really be focused on our habits. What our baseline is, not in the lows, not in the highs. But you get inspiration from the highs. So don't just leave the highs alone, right? Take your inspiration from it. I can do this. right? I'm in there lifting. Man, today I lift 295. I'm normally lifting
Woo.
275, right? Let's say
Come
that,
on, man.
right? Let's say normally I'm lifting two. I'm not a 295er, but today, just say today everything was hitting on all cylinders. But I'm normally a 275er, right? But guess what? I put in my mind now. I can do this.
Mm,
So over the course of the next 3 to 6 months, I will become a 295er. That's what you get out of your high. You gain your inspiration. It's motivating. Take it. Take it all. Then there's days you go in the gym and you can't do 185, right? And you a 250 or whatever it is. And today I did 185. I'm not gonna harp on that. I'm gonna say, man, it was a bad day. I'm gonna now I get to reflect. Okay, well, maybe I need more rest. What did I eat yesterday? Oh, did I
right.
do a hard workout the day before? I'm just taking this up, but I'm taking it back to my baseline because now I'm going to take that baseline. I'm just going to go up 5 pounds in 2 months, another 5 pounds in another 3 months. Guess what it sounds like? That sounds boring, don't it?
Mm,
Only 5 pounds in 2 or 3 months. I'm only going up 10 pounds in 2 or 3 months. Can't think of it like that. Zoom out. This is your baseline, and this is on the chart, and it's just inching up because we had to figure out exactly where we were. Some people don't want to figure out where they are. Some people want to jump straight into steroids. I'm jumping into steroids. I ain't thinking nothing about it because this is going to jump me up to 315, right? But guess what? That may go away, right? And now all of a sudden you're back down here. Find comfort in the boring.
mm,
Find comfort in that baseline because if I start to adjust my habits and I start to become aligned with what it is, right now I can start to etch on up and just move on there. Now the brother spoke about the narrative. Pay attention to these narratives that are being thrown around. I see great fathers everywhere I go, right? Like I see great fathers, but the narrative will tell you something different. The narrative will say, in order for you to be a great father, you need to be doing all this crazy stuff. You need to be taking the kids to Disney World. You need to be giving somebody X amount of money. You need show blah blah blah. Like it's all this. You need to be running up. No, that's not what it is. It's showing up. It's showing up. However, you can show up and being at your best. That might not be the that might not be, the high. It might not be Disney World. It might be going outside and throwing the ball around with your child as much as you can, whenever you can. It might be going in to go check on. Does this sound exciting to you? It might be going on and checking in on your child before he goes to sleep, just letting them know that you're there. It might be he calls you and you got to pick him up from school for whatever reason, and you get to have that time. Does this sound exciting to you? It's the
mm.
all times is not, but this is what day after day what we're doing that's going to make a difference. Go back and check out our what we spoke about last week. Now we start to take these habits and we start to raise the baseline because the habit doesn't have to be some monumental kind of thing that needs to be changed. It's these simple things that we're just going to do day in, day out, and we're going to get it higher. And we're tuning ourselves. This is the integration. We're tuning ourselves to it because you already have it. We have it within us. We're there, right? Sometimes and it's great to have somebody point them out. That's why I love encouraging and empowering people by pointing it out. Brother, you already there. you know, yeah, brother, you there. We just
Appreciate it.
yeah, we all we doing is we just tuning this thing. We're making this thing a
Yeah.
symphony, our life's work, our
Mm,
life symphony. We're tuning it so that it's just a beautiful sound, right? And I'm not looking for perfection. Perfection is complete silence. Nothing. There's no mistakes to be made. There's nothing. Perfection is going to be this complete silence. So we're not looking for perfection. We're looking, oh, you always need to be operating on 1,000 cylinders. No, you just need to be tuning yourself and be attuned with yourself and your
mm,
environment and you're present and you're conscious and you're loving and we're getting there and we're encouraging. We're not faking it. Everything's not great all the time and we're moving around. It's just but it is perfect for us though.
Hmm.
because we're in that mode that we're just like we're just getting to it. And that's when we start to say we're not chasing the alignment, we're becoming attuned. We're not faking the peace, we're walking in peace. We're not performing identity, we're just embodying it, right? And we don't need this necessarily. We don't need, and you don't need permission to do this because you're already there, right? But it's awesome. I'll tell you because I got the brother here. I got the brother Beethoven when he calls. I got several other brothers that we just call and we're having these conversations. Next thing you know, 2 minutes turned into 2 hours because we're encouraging and we're empowering each other with us having this information, guys. So I'm telling you, this identity, and that part can't be faked, right? Like
Right.
that part is being showed through. What we at, brother? We
Right. Nah, man. Nah, you hit it. You hit it hard too. I just want to remind everybody what you said. I think it was last episode. Habits aren't cravings. I think this is worthy of being repeated. Mike, you said habits aren't cravings, they're contracts we've signed with our past selves. And I believe that, as you started
mm,
talking about the
mm,
narrative, maybe it's time for us to sign a new contract.
mm, mm.
I
You
think
know
this
what I
is,
think when we speak about the narrative, because I want to make a distinction of it as I think about narrative. Um,
there you go, man.
the narrative, the way that you change a narrative, because the narrative is how the social, so like, most of these narratives have happened before we were even around. Like this has just been going on since time memorial. I want a lot of us to know that it just didn't happen to you, right? This is just the narrative. It's the story. It's what's being told. We've never, as far as African American community, or just the black community in general, has never had a chance to actually to create the narratives. And this is since 1915, 1916, birth of a nation. It's been taken and it's been ran with, right? And this is what people are looking at you and doing it. How you go against the narrative, and I wouldn't even say to fight against it because I'm not into this forcing. I don't want to force anything. Is for your story to say something different. How are we showing up? Okay. I'm walking through the gym and I might look a certain kind of way, and someone's gonna say, "Hey, what up, bro?" And I'm like, "Hey, good morning." Right? Like it changes. He no longer he's no longer this person. And do this if this is you. It could be as simple as, "Hey, man, what's up, bro?" Whatever it is, but it's just your story. Every time you open your mouth, I wasn't expecting that from you. That's because that's the viewpoint of it. Don't take it, don't take it to heart. Don't get upset about it. I'm not mad about this narrative, whatever the case may be. Just be comforted in knowing that your story is what it is, and if you're in alignment, you're okay with it, right? So that's the distinction with this. Just live a certain kind of story, and the narrative, nothing, other things don't matter, right? Because you're bringing light to darkness, right? The narrative is the darkness. It's this self, people. This is what people think of you. This is how they perceive you. But then when you show up with the light, it can't exist, right? Every time. What's up? Something is wrong with Joe. He just come in here smiling all the time. Oh, that's Joe. Joe coming in here smiling. You gonna deal with it? You're right. Like the brother go to the fire station. When he shows up, it's just like I know after a while they like this is his identity. Like, and people like is he serious? Yeah, that's Joe. Right? Like this is there's no, it is what it is. This is what you get. This is what you get. There's nothing fake about it. But he's supposed to be an angry black guy, right? Like, and I'm not saying that the brother is. I'm just saying that it might be a narrative. He's an angry. The black guys are angry. No, you haven't met. You haven't met. Haven't met Joe. This might not necessarily be true. That's how we deal with that narrative situation, and starting to we just look at it from a different aspect, because I've had it. I probably lived up to the narrative at times, right? I probably was whatever it was that you, because it might have been comfortable and easy. It's just easier for me to be this way.
Hmm.
But it's not in alignment with who I am. It's not spiritually aligning, it's not mentally aligning, and it's not physically aligning, possibly. Right. So
There-
now, go ahead, brother.
there's a saying: "Give the people what they want." And I
Mm,
believe that that's sometimes exactly what happens. I'm not into that. I'm not
mhm,
into that. There was a oh man, I almost don't even want to use this as a reference because it's been such a long time since I read about it.
mm,
But it was in Solomon's. It was in one of the king's days. It's been a long time since I read it. But one of the kings, and I'll go back and I'll find it for you guys. Maybe I'll put it out there inside of the messaging. But one of the kings had ended up trying to figure out whether or not they would listen to one prophet who spoke on behalf of the Lord or every other lying prophet that there was, because they wanted to defeat the children of Israel. They wanted to defeat them. They had made a league with other peers, and the only one that stood in between them and their accomplishment was the children of Israel. And they sought out Balaam, 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 and they sought him out because they wanted him to prophesy. And scripture said, "Who shall go down and be a lying tongue?" And of course, there was one that said that they will, and they lied in the tongue of this man to the point where a donkey turned around and spoke to him after he had hit him 3 times. And no matter what, he just wanted to keep on telling this false truth. And it was all because they wanted to have this false truth. Sometimes what happens is with narratives is people want to believe what they want to believe more than they want to be themselves.
mm,
And you can get stuck there. It's like you watch too much TV, you become a movie, a actor. You watch too much TV. So now you're an actor. Everywhere you go, you're pretending you're somebody else. You listen to too much music, and before you know, you become a musical artist. And wherever you go, you're on stage. And it's like these things we have to take time. Mike was talking about this before, talking about the flow state, as being powerful. And you don't build habits only in the flow state based on your baseline, is what he said. And it's like you have to get to the point where you can kind of like operate in or out of that flow state. And that comes with making decisions. And a decision, the slight difference between what I believe between a decision and a choice is a choice is like either or, but a decision is I'm deciding on one thing and everything else must die. That's a decision. Everything else is dead to me. It's not an either or. It's not, hey, I want this, but maybe next time I'll take that. It's like that is dead to me. I've decided. I'm planting my flag. I believe there's a big difference between two from that perspective, right? And this is my perspective, so you don't have to buy it. You don't have to believe the narrative. But at the very least, though, if you were considerate, then just consider yourself in the middle of whatever you're doing, whoever you're becoming, and don't just make a choice, but start making decisions.
mm,
Because I believe that all of us have certain things that we simply need to put to rest, right? Some things we need to go and buy the tombstone and write RIP, because becoming whoever it is that you desire to become, or being whoever it is that you believe you are, is going to take sacrifice. Habits are a shortcut to ensuring that your sacrifice was worth its value. That's what habits are. They're shortcuts. If you use them for your benefit, then they will shortcut you into doing exactly what you desire to do. and being exactly what you desire to be. And so at that point in time, we're no longer on the stage, right? We're no longer acting. Nope, it's just me, whatever that looks like.
It's a
And I,
beautiful thing. That's a beautiful thing.
yeah, man. You know, at one point in time, it was like, I remember this, y'all. And I'm gonna share this. I'm gonna share this with you, as a part of our journey together in Community Beacon. So I'm gonna share this with you for 4 years. So in the beginning, when I started to wear my hats, I really liked hats, and there came a time where I didn't really put a hat on, and I got a call from somebody that I mentor, and this is open mentorship, right? Open coaching. This is just me counseling somebody who's not paying me, but they are absolutely getting everything they can out of me. And so this is early days. They're a friend, and they were going through some really hard times. So of course I'm there. Nonetheless, they said, "Yeah, I saw you on the show, but you didn't have one of those hats on." And within a few days or a week or so, I took that as part of my identity. Now, it still is a piece of my identity, but it's not at the same level as it was before, because before it was like, I gotta have a hat, I gotta have a hat. And I still may say something like that, but it's not the same mentally, because it was a certain type of hat. I had to go out and buy more hats, and to match this identity that I was walking into. So now you may see me wearing a ball cap, you may see me wear, a fedora, you may see me wearing a Scully, because I like hats. But then you also may not see me wearing anything, no hats at all, because my identity is greater than the clothing that I wear. So when I wear something, I wear it because I like it. I like the way I look inside of it. That's my identity. Is I wear what I like because I like the way I look in it. It's not about you. It's not about them. But I put it on because of me. And so because of that, it has radically changed the way that I operate in everything. Because I might wear a suit and have tennis shoes on. Like, well, that's me. I'm different. Or I might wear jeans and have church shoes on because I'm different. I might go and throw a jacket on with my fitness shirt on because I'm different. And I don't want to look like the next guy, but here's the thing. There's somebody out there with this look. What makes me different from them? Well, I did it because I wanted to. That's what makes me different. I'm not doing it because I want to look like them. That's my difference. Well, but he said he's a Christian. Well, number one, let's not go down that pathway, because Jesus never said anything about being a Christian. But let's not go there, because my faith is solid, rock solid. And my life is more important. The way that I live my life in Christ's eyesight is the most important thing. To me, my father taught me that only what you do in Christ shall last. So my objective is to do everything in Christ. Good God, Yellow Messiah. That's my objective. That's part of my mission, my vision statement for self. Is that everything is get to the point where every single thing that I do is in Christ. Does that mean that I need to say, you know, because of this, I need to start quoting Jesus all over the place? Jesus didn't quote himself all over the place. He gave people words of wisdom without even mentioning the Father's name so many times. It's deeper than that, y'all. And I know I realized that I opened up the door because I gave you all my own testimony about this habit thing and about this identity thing. And I wanted you all to see that. So when you see me show up and I got a Scully on, or I don't have anything on, or I got a pair of glasses on, or I don't have it, or I got my chain on, or I have a t-shirt on, or I got a button-up shirt, I got a jacket, or I don't. No, it's just me, period. Because the thing that I realized through all of these studies, through all of these masterminds, is that there was something inside of me that had picked up something from somebody else. And when I realized that, because of my awareness, because of my focus on knowing exactly who I am, was I put down whatever that was. I don't want to be like you. I just don't. Because I'm the best me that you'll ever see. So why not be me?
Mhm.
And why not create the habits that make me even better? And there is no judgment. Who's going to judge me on being me? Nobody but God, because only God truly knows what's inside my heart. Everybody else has to listen to what comes out of my mouth and what my actions show. And even still, they may not get the real of who I am. So for that, it's me and my God. And when we start talking about your narrative, that's what we're talking about. Don't just go to the grass, go to the roots. Y'all understand what I'm saying out there? There's a grassroots type of organization. It means that they start at the bottom and they plant the seed and they grow it. Well, don't just go to the grass, y'all. Because if you're doing that, you ain't nothing but a lawnmower. Nah, go to the roots. And that may take some work. So get on it.
Yeah. Hey, amen. Listen, the brother spoke about, and I mean, there's a lot to unpack. I'm just going to take a couple things. One, be- one being is that vision statement that he spoke about for himself, right? And then he spoke about, and he spoke a little earlier about making decisions. And the best way, one of the best ways, one of the ways that you can try it on, is becoming clear. That's
Yes.
what that vision statement does. It
Yes.
provides clarity. So from clarity, you start to make these different decisions, and you know, I would say principled decisions. You make these principled decisions, and these are the things that you stand on. And this and nothing more principled decision than that principle statement of, or your vision statement. Now we can go back and say, okay, well, this habit, and this what I'm doing now is not matching up with my identity right now. So we have to go through this integration process, this tuning process, right? Like, this is who, and you could say this. I don't have to give you, we don't have to give you permission to say, this is who I am. Now, your actions and stuff, like, somebody else from the outside might say, well, that's not who you are because X, X, and O. Ah, right? Like, this is who I am. Okay, so my habits need a little need to be tuned up a little. What do I need to work on? My communication skills, my connection skills, like whatever it is, just so that I become more in tune and aligned with myself. And then, like the brother saying, let the Most High judge you from that point on. That's that, because they know what's going on. They know the alignment, right? So that's where the work is. Start to gain this clarity. Remember who you are. Get back in tuned, and then just start to embody it. The brother say, like, I know this is me. I'm the best me. Nobody's perfect. You're not looking for perfection. Anybody, the greatest, whoever they were, Muhammad Ali took losses, Jordan took losses, Wayne Gretzky took losses. However it goes, they were not perfect people. They were perfectly them. And they
Right.
and they embody that. That's what it's up for. It's to be perfectly you. And being perfectly you would be like, oh, my bad. I go to the brother, oh, brother, my bad. I didn't mean to do this. Or he can say, Mike, my fault. I didn't know. Well, I wasn't looking for him to be perfect, right? He's because he's perfectly him, and I know, based upon his identity and who he is, that's just what adds up to it. But he's not. I'm not. You're not. I'm not. You're. Matter of fact, I tell you my faults from the beginning, just so we get everything straight from the beginning. Hey, I can be kind of blunt. Are you? Is it okay if I'm lovingly blunt with you in this conversation? Because I can spend the entire day looking for the perfect word that's going to make you feel better. But I got stuff to do. So what? And you got stuff to do. So I'm going to be lovingly blunt. I'm not. This is not coming from a place of judgment. This is just, hey, this is what it is. This is what I see. Take it or leave it. Boom, we can go on to the next one, man. Guys, habits, integration, identity.
Let's go.
I love it. This series is like this is like foundational stuff.
This has been
And you
gold.
can yeah, you could take this stuff foundationally and apply it to any part of your life. The things that we've spoken about, the things that we've broken down. We've used several sources. I know we started off with what's the book, brother? James Clear. Is it James Clear?
James Clear, you're talking about Atomic Habits?
Atomic Habits, right? Did that we sprinkle some of his stuff in there, whatever. I don't. I like our body of work though.
I
Like
mean,
I think,
we've referenced some of these
yeah, we
guys and
were,
everything because the truth is the truth, right? And so when you
yeah,
find truth from any author, it just is what it is. But I mean,
right,
they have gotten our perspective on this topic, and I love that. And I remember you were talking about that from the very beginning. You want to make it very crystal clear that this is not a book club, although we have plenty of books
yeah,
that are good for you to read. My camera, listen, I'm being brutally honest. I have not spent all the money on all the fancy equipment. My camera is sitting on like 20 books. 20 books. That's
yeah.
how I get my camera sitting right there. And like what Jim Rohn said, we stand on the books that we read. If you want to get to the higher level, at some point in time, you're going to have to you know, book, insert book here, James Allen or Tom Rath, Spencer Johnson, whatever. You're going to have to insert, whatever that book is and gain this knowledge from whoever it is. Or you can come to Community Beacon and you can check us out, but go back and verify this stuff that we're talking about, because it's not like the stuff that we're talking about is just something that we thought of in the back cave somewhere, you know. We are not Batman. We ain't Batman. We're not in some cave figuring out how to solve the world's issues. No, man. We go to libraries, we go onto our phones, we go onto the internet and pull up books. We order books off of Amazon. We go buy them at the store. We go in conversations with great leaders and great people in the community that we know and outside of the community that we know. We attend conferences. We do the stuff that we're talking about. That's what I'm getting at. Like,
Mm-hmm,
so if you're not doing the stuff, you're not getting the stuff. If the
mm-hmm,
thing that you do, we talked about this. How many episodes have we talked about this? Or how many episodes ago did we talk about it? If you're hanging out with the same guy on the street corner, you're going to get the same medicine every single day. Maybe a different angle, but you're looking at the exact same thing.
mm-hmm,
And if you ever leave that group, you're going to really know what I'm talking about. Because when you come back and realize that they are still on the same street corner, and
mm.
the only thing that has changed was the age, they look older and more tired. That's the only thing that's changed. Then you'll realize if you had not left, you would have been there too. So take that for a thought process, right? Take it for a thought process. Who do you want to be? And if what you're around, the people that you're around, are not moving in the same direction of what you desire inside your own life, change the narrative.
Mm-hmm.
Not just the thought, but also the environment. Mike, you talked about that. You hit that thing. You talk about biology, environment, culture. You mentioned all of those things. You got to change all of that stuff. You might have to change your culture. You might have grown up a certain way, ate a certain way. You might have to change your culture. You might have to do that, you know? Oh man, we about to open up a whole nother show because I'm about to dig into that thing right there. Oh my gosh. That's it. That's it. My hands in the
I
air like take the
know.
mic, take
Time well spent, guys. Time well spent. We love you. We appreciate you. For those of you who have checked in, give us a like, a share, comment. We'll definitely get back to you. And we'll see what next week brings. Love you. Peace.